What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for June 25th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the podcast. It is Tuesday, so it's time for a little motivation / positivity. And this one I heard a couple weeks ago at the pool, ironically enough. And we went, it was one of the days it was hot, and we couldn't find one of the tables with an umbrella, so we just kind of sat there. It was what it was. Lady saw we had snacks and everything for the kids, and I guess she was leaving soon, and she was hanging out with some friends, and she said, hey, you can share half my table. I'm going to leave. I appreciate it. I said, thank you. Talked to her for a little bit, and then we just went about our day. She was hanging out with some friends of hers. One of the ladies came over, apparently had lost her husband in February, and they were talking about taking trips and just the different struggles and things she had. And she's like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. I feel bad. And the lady said something that really stuck out. And I remember I looked over at my wife and was like, that is the perfect Tuesday motivational quote. And she told the lady, be kind to yourself. And I think that is in anything you're going through in life. Be kind to yourself. It's going to take some time, whether you're mourning a loss, whether you're trying to get a promotion at work, you're starting a weight loss or a workout journey, you're training for a race or something like that. You're trying to teach your kids how to, and this was a struggle for us, I remember specifically, training your kids to potty training your kids. Anything in life, you just need to be kind to yourself and realize and know that you're where you're supposed to be. Give yourself grace. And I think we're so hard on ourselves in every aspect because we expect, here's our goal, we expect it to be there overnight. And achieving goals is not easy. It doesn't matter how small or how big they are. If you're trying to improve yourself and you're trying to grow, you need to set goals, but it's going to be hard to get there. Especially like if you're doing a weight loss journey or you're trying to work your way up a ladder at work to get to a certain position. So I just thought that was very profound, and it's something that I've been trying to really keep in the back of my mind since I heard that day at the pool. But be kind to yourself, and while you're at it, and I know this is going to sound very cheesy and Jerry Springer-esque, but be kind to everybody else too. I think if we just had more kindness and grace in our society, things would go a lot smoother than what they are. There wouldn't be so much just hate and anger with people, but just be kind to yourself. Start with yourself. And as you go through your weeks this week, just be kind to yourself and understand that you're going to get there. It's going to take some time though. It's just, we're so ready to get that instant gratification that sometimes we forget that it is a journey, and we need to just be kind to ourselves. Like I said, that was great advice. Shout out to her. I appreciate it. And like I said, it's been keeping in the back of my mind since I've heard that. But as you go through your week, just remember to be kind to yourself and give yourself some grace, because sometimes life is a struggle. And it's not all going to be unicorns and roses. So be sure to just be kind to yourself and you will get through it. And that is today's Tuesday motivation. We'll start with a recap of yesterday's tournament games. And 2 games in, we have 2 upsets already. The wild thing, Mitch Williams upset the Bodyguard. 56% of the vote went to Mitch Williams, the wild thing. And I think this one, the whole playing wild thing and just comparing him to Vaughn, I think just really played into that. So the wild thing is moving on, the number 9 seed out of the Balboa region. And then in the cheesesteak region, the ultimate weapon, Randall Cunningham, my boy, or I guess he's over here, my boy, won with 58% of the vote. I don't know if Jaws having 2 nicknames hurt him there, or the fact that Randall was more of a fan favorite. And I will say this one there was a lot of Jaws on my social media accounts, like LinkedIn and Instagram, the ones that a lot of the older folks might have, and TikTok. And TikTok just ran away. Like Ultimate Weapon went I think it was like 60 some percent or whatever it was on TikTok. So definitely the newer medium got that. So the Ultimate Weapon, the 11 seed in the cheesesteak, and Wild Thing, the 9 seed in the Balboa region. The Balboa region are both moving on. We'll have 2 matchups later in the show. Be sure, speaking of the social media, Twitter and TikTok, Jimbo_Mont. Instagram at Philly Jimbo. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. You can shoot me text messages. You can send smoke signals, whatever you got to do to get those votes in. Also, spread the word and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Even if you're listening to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel. All of that helps out. Jimbo_Mont. But having a lot of fun with this, and I was going through my time hop this morning, and apparently we're on the same schedule, and I didn't necessarily plan it perfectly like this, but we're on the same schedule as we were last year for the Lovable Loser tournament. So keep them coming, keep the votes coming, and let's have some fun with this. All right, some Phillies news. And I guess the first bit of business was the fact that David Montgomery it was announced he's going into the Wall of Fame. He's former president, CEO, and the facing owner. At some point, I think he was, I forget when he started to become that guy, but he was, when they won the World Series, he was the guy that was out on the field getting the trophy and everything. He also, I didn't realize this, won the Buck O'Neil Lifetime Achievement Award by the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So technically he's in the Hall of Fame, but well-deserved for him. He passed away a few years ago after a battle with cancer. But David Montgomery is going into the Wall of Fame. Did not say whether or not there's going to be another one or not. Personally, if they're going to do one every year, they should only do one before it starts getting watered down. Not going to go on my Juan Samuel rant, but Juan Samuel is in the Phillies Wall of Fame, basically because he played here forever. But shout out and congratulations to David Montgomery's family for his induction into the Phillies Wall of Fame. All right, so I'm sure you probably, even if you don't listen to Sports Talk Radio, this was all over social media as well. On the afternoon show yesterday, Spike Eskin basically called out Bryce Harper and the fans and went on this rant about accountability and why don't we hold Bryce Harper to the same standard we do our other athletes and blah, 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 blah. And it's well known that Bryce Harper listens to the afternoon show. He's talked about the callers and things like that when he on his drive to the game. Something tells me he still listens to the point certain times when he's at the stadium. But all Bryce did was go out and just took the extra base, did everything that Spike Eskin was ripping him for. So there's no way in my mind he was not listening. But 8-1, Phillies won. Harper and Alec Bohm went a combined 7 for 10, 2 homers, 8 RBI, 3 doubles. And Bryce is starting to heat up a little bit, and he's doing little things that, yeah, maybe he didn't take the extra base on Friday night or whatever he did, or hit into a double play or whatever he was complaining about. But Bryce is probably the most clutch athlete that we've ever had in this city. So I don't know if he gets held to a different standard than the others, but he probably should, since he does everything that we ask him to do. And people don't like the pandering and everything like that. And I think I love it. Like, when he came over from Washington, like, we used to hate him. We absolutely hated him when he was on the Nationals. And if you remember, Cole Hamels threw at him, and he just was, I remember when he was younger, just very cocky, or so we thought. And he came in and said, no, I want to go to Philadelphia. I want to play there. And it was his responsibility and his job to win us over. And I think he has. And I don't know. Like, we hold everybody accountable, but it's hard to get on Bryce for things when he comes back early from injury. When he's like, okay, I'll be the DH since I can't play in the field. Okay, I'll play first base if I have to. I'll do this. And all of those things that he does, he kind of does get a pass. I mean, and if you think about it, though, people were starting to rip him a little bit in his career, and he's early on, and in Philly. but he's been on a steady trajectory. I do think if they don't win the World Series this year, a lot of that is going to fall on Bryce, because a lot of the guys that are here are guys that he went to bat for and wanted to bring here. So I think it's not necessarily the honeymoon phase, I wouldn't say, but I think this is the year. If they don't win it this year, I think Bryce opens himself up a lot to the criticism. He was getting criticized earlier in the off season when he was asking for more money, and I think I get it. It was probably to get listeners and things like that, but I mean, yeah, Bryce gets held to a different standard than most. I mean, look at Donovan. We didn't really start getting on Donovan until after like maybe the first or second NFC championship loss, and then at that point it was well deserved. So if they go back and they don't get to at least to the NLCS, or if they get to the World Series and lose again, I think Bryce is fair game. And I think in Philly, to say we don't hold our athletes accountable is just laughable, because J-Roll, we would get on for the same things we're getting on. Some folks are getting on Bryce for not running out ground balls. Utley, if you remember with his knees, where everybody's like, well, why did you wait till now? And like, Utley is beloved, and we used to get on him. I mean, Ryan Howard, any quarterback in the Eagles that they've ever had has been fair game to criticism, going back to Jaworski and probably even before. And of course, Joel, but we didn't really start getting on Joel until after the Boston series, because there's always something else. I mean, you had the Hawks series was Ben Simmons. The year before, I mean, they had him there, and Kawhi had the 4-bounce game winner in Game 7. So I think if anything in Philly, sometimes we can be too tough, but I think we're fair if you're producing and doing what you need to do. So I think that's why Bryce, in his words, Spike's words, gets a pass. But great game for Bryce yesterday, and you're not, like I said, you're not going to tell me that he wasn't listening and had something to prove there. Nola was great. They're looking to win Game 2 and win this series. They were talking about it on the broadcast if you weren't watching. Rob Thompson said, we need to win 30 series and we'll make the postseason. And if they win this series, it'll be series win number 16. So hopefully they go out, get the job done today, and then you can kind of coast through that last game. But good win for the Phils. Harper and Bohm were certifiably hot. And like I said, I think Bryce was definitely listening to what 94 WIP was saying. The clock is slowly ticking toward the 4th of July. Get the British Blue a 13 colony lead share from Philly Goat, and then get some shoes to match. They got you covered. And if you haven't checked out their website yet, I know we have some new listeners, go check out phillygoat.com. They have all kinds of cool shirts. The canvas loafers are second to none. They're so comfortable. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. Be sure to use that promo code, because that helps us out here at the podcast and helps us to grow this thing. And they do have a big announcement coming up soon. I don't know when. I don't have any inside information. But John Kruk has been all over Philly Goat's social media, so I'm not really sure what it is. But Hugh Douglas is a big Philly Goat guy, so who knows what's happening with Kruk, but I'm looking forward to it. So be sure to go to phillygoat.com, use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. That helps us out, and it helps you out, because the gear they have there is amazing. So check out phillygoat.com, use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. All right, some more Sixers rumors. The draft is tomorrow night. And now all of a sudden there are Contavious Caldwell-Pope rumors. There is an option, or if he opts out of his player option, he is one of the targets for the Sixers. And I actually like it. I think of all of the rumors I've heard so far, this is the one. I think he brings some veteran leadership. He's won. And of all of them, like I said, this is the one I want. I still don't buy the Sixers' interest in Paul George is waning. Something tells me that was a move by an agent or something leaking the story out there. But I still think Paul George is on the table. But if they can get Pope, I'll take that. I did see that OG Anunoby opted out of his contract, so he'll be a free agent. And I think that was expected, though. And that's another guy I would take. There were some people that were very dead set against him on Twitter yesterday, saying that he would be Tobias Harris 2.0. I think that might be a little bit disrespectful to OG, but we should start getting some more rumors today. And with the draft tomorrow, it'll be interesting to see if the Sixers take that pick, which in more recent drafts, guys later just outside of the lottery have been doing much better than what they have in the past. Usually you had the 16th pick and it's like, maybe this guy will turn out. But in recent years, some of these guys, because a lot of the guys that get drafted there have played a couple years in college, so they have a little bit more experience. They're a little bit more polished coming out. So I think it's a blank canvas for the Sixers. So we'll see what becomes of it. But the Caldwell Pope rumors, I'm in on Caldwell Pope. Like, that would be, I think, a good signing, and then you can fill out the rest of the team around and get some guys that have some fight in them, some dogs to fill out. And I think hopefully that comes to fruition. All right. Flyers, they are gearing up for their draft on Friday. We now know what their second first-round pick will be. They have Florida's first-round pick, which will be number 32 as Florida. That was a hell of a game yesterday. Florida beat the Oilers 2-1 to win the Stanley Cup. But now it's all about the offseason. Mishkov is coming over, and I think that puts pressure on Danny Briere and Keith Jones for not only this draft, but next year's draft as well, because now you got to start building that core. And there was already pressure on those drafts anyway, just because of the rebuild. But I think now that everything gets accelerated, it ups the ante. And I have full confidence that they're going to do the right thing. They have 10 picks in this draft, 2 first rounds and 2 second rounds, the 12th and the 32nd. So they can start building a good core and hopefully get a solid team. They're still weak offensively. They don't really have any centers, but with Mishkov coming over, the pressure is on, and it's officially NBA and NHL offseason, and I am looking forward to it. All right, today we're going to go back for the second time in 3 days to the 1971 Phillies, and not Rick Wise this time, but on this day in 1971, the Phillies lost to the Pirates 14-4. Darren Johnson and Willie Montanez each hit two-run homers for the Phillies. The Pirates, though, lit up Jim Bunning and Lowell Palmer for 5 home runs in the brief time that both of them were in there. It just they couldn't get the Pirates out this day. Richie Hebner, a future Philly, hit 2 home runs. Jackie Hernandez hit 2 home runs. And Willie Stargell hit 1 himself. But we're going to talk about Willie Stargell's. And Stargell hit his in the second inning off of Jim Bunning. And it was an absolute moonshot. It flew to section 601 at the Vet. Hit right above the entrance to the ramp down to the concession stand. Longest home run in Veterans Stadium history, and it was 3 months into the life of the Vet. That home run that I think I never realized either was a back-to-back home run. So Richie Hebner had got up, cleared the bases, and then Jim Bunning talked about the pitch. He was like, I've gotten him out on that pitch so many times. I hung a slider, and he made me pay for it. To their credit, the Phillies, if you've ever been in the Vet, they painted a white circle. They put a yellow star with a big black S in the middle, and basically to commemorate the longest home run in Vet history. And I always remember thinking, I'm like, somebody's got to beat that. Somebody's got to beat that. No one ever beat that. When Stargell died, they painted it black, and it remained there until the Vet was torn down. I don't know if somebody came in and grabbed that specific piece or whether it was just like, hey, if you're out there, and because I know I have a piece of the Vet over here over my left shoulder, but if you have a piece of the Vet that has the Willie Stargell star on it, hit me up because I would love to talk to you about it. But on this day in 1971, Willie Stargell hit the longest home run in Veterans Stadium history, right above the entrance to the ramp in section 601 out in right field. And surprisingly, it's the first year of the vet, and nobody ever hit one. Despite the fact as a kid, I'm like, somebody's got to hit it. Nobody ever hit it. And I would also be remiss today if I didn't mention this, a sad anniversary in Philly sports history. On this day in 1992, Jerome Brown passed away in a car accident with his nephew. This one hit me hard. I don't want to go into too much of it because I've talked about it before, but I had just seen him a couple months prior at a card show. He was like, number 12 is coming back. Defense is going to be fired up. This is going to be our season. Unfortunately, never made it to the season. But they finally did bring it home for Jerome in 2017. But on this day in 1992, Jerome Brown passed away. A sad day for Eagles fans. All right, let's pick up the mood here a little bit. And on, excuse me, and let's get into the Ultimate Philly Sports Nickname Tournament. Today we have a matchup out of the Schuykill region. We have the number 2 seed taking on the number 15 seed. Yes, Dr. J versus the Camden Buzzsaw. Dr. J is a Sixer legend, NBA champion, had a strong case for a number 1 seed, one of the greatest nicknames in all of sports. And the backstory to it, it was given by his friend Leon Saunders when they used to play for Roosevelt High School, the same Roosevelt Long Island High School that Howard Stern went to. Dr. J called Saunders the professor, and that morphed, and Leon called Dr. J the doctor, morphed into Dr. Julius. Then it became Dr. J, caught on once he got into the ABA. One of the best Sixers ever. His number 6 is retired. He was an MVP, NBA champion, took them to 3 other NBA finals. Strong 2 seed here. So Dr. J out of the Schuykill region will take on the number 15 seed, the Camden Buzzsaw. Great name. And that is Dwight Muhammad Kawhi. And he was a boxer, grew up in Camden, learned to box while he was in prison, became a world champion at 2 weight classes. He was a light heavyweight and a cruiserweight. He's in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Got the nickname Buzzsaw because of his fighting style. Wasn't afraid to go inside and just would kind of go in and wouldn't go in and hold people up. He made it clear, like, no, I didn't go in there to hold and wrestle. I came in there to hit. So he was not afraid of that. So he got the nickname the Buzzsaw. Your turn to decide who's got the better name. Is it the number 2 seed, Dr. J, or the number 15 seed, the Camden Buzzsaw? This is a Schuykill region matchup. And then our second matchup today is out of the Ben Franklin region. We have the number 4 seed, World Be Free, taking on the number 13 seed, B West. Let's start with World Be Free. Born Lloyd Bernard Free, he played for the Sixers from 75 to 78 and then again in 86, 87. And got the nickname in part because he had a 44-inch vertical jump, would do 360 dunks all the time, took rainbow shots. He was all over the court. And his teammates in high school and college would call him, they didn't think he was all county or all area, so they called him all world. He also played with a lot of swag, so he bought into the whole world nickname, and it just stuck for him. And then legally, he changed his name to World in 1981. He's currently working as the director of player development and is a community ambassador for the Sixer. But World Be Free is one of the most beloved Sixers ever, and nicknamed the World because of the way he played the game. Just could jump like gravity forgot him. So World Be Free is our 4 seed out of the Ben Franklin region. And the number 13 seed, B West. Obviously, it's a play on his name, which in the way the selection committee did it this year kind of hurt people's nicknames if there was a play on their name. But Brian Westbrook was a college football Hall of Famer from Villanova. He's the number 3 rusher all-time in Eagles history. He's the number 14 receiver. Number 3 on their touchdown list, was an All-Pro, Pro Bowler. He's in the Eagles Hall of Fame as well as the 75th anniversary team. 3-time 1AA All-American. And my favorite Brian Westbrook memory was saving the 2003 season with the punt return against the Giants up in the Meadowlands. The Miracle of the Meadowlands, number 2. So B West, the 13th seed out of the Ben Franklin region, takes on the number 4 seed World Be Free. And then in the Schuykill region, we have number 2, Dr. J, taking on number 15, the Camden Buzzsaw. Get your votes in any way you can. 267-495-8531 get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Leave a voicemail, send a text message. Whatever you got to do, get that and anything else Philly sports related off your chest. Want to go on a rant against Spike Eskin and not holding Bryce Harper accountable? You can do that as well. But any of my social media, Jimbo_Mont, Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, text message, whatever you got to do to get those votes in. But today's matchups out of the Schuykill region, the number 2 seed, Dr. J, takes on the number 15 seed, the Camden Buzzsaw. And out of the Ben Franklin region, it's World Be Free taking on number 13 seed B West. So Julius Erving versus Dwight Muhammad Kawhi. And then World Be Free taking on Brian Westbrook. Who do you got? Who's got the ultimate Philly sports nickname? Let's do it. Let's break yesterday's record of votes and let's get it going. On this day, back in 1971, Willie Stargell hit the longest home run in Veterans Stadium history when he took Jim Bunning deep to the 601 gate in right field. Also on this day in 1992, Jerome Brown passed away tragically. We are gearing up for the NBA draft tomorrow, the NHL draft this weekend. Philly's looking to take yet another series today in Detroit. Let's keep that offense rolling so we don't have to hold Bryce Harper accountable. As long as he keeps hitting and becoming an MVP candidate, we don't have to hold him accountable. He's doing it himself. Remember to be kind to yourself no matter what. Just sometimes it's the simplest things that make the world of a difference. So as the lady at the pool said, be kind to yourself, and hopefully you can take that throughout your week and it'll make a difference for you. Be sure to vote. Dr. J versus the Camden Buzzsaw, World Be Free versus B West. Who's got the better nickname? Get your votes in, and we'll have 2 more matchups tomorrow. It's going to start warming up again, so be safe out there. Make sure you drink plenty of fluids. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for June 25th, 2024. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.